Anyway, if you're not there in the morning, worry not. The recording I've already shared it. We are going to do two projects this afternoon. The sooner we finish, the sooner I handle questions. We are going to start with the sort of a task manager. Just rejoin. If my screen is not visible, you can just inform me. We are going to do a task manager. After that, we are going to do, let me stop sharing and share again. How about now? Okay, same. I don't know why. Okay, allow me to rejoin. Well, I'm back. Um, Great. Somebody saying somebody wants three sessions, another person saying impossible. Okay, well, I explained the reason why I'm not going to do three sessions. There is no mutual benefit for that. It's not that I cannot do that. I'm paid to train you, but I found it better with the previous cohorts that when you do sessions in a way that you impact people, you don't need to go in a class and do it like 10 hours class. No. Concentration spans goes away. Then as well, I cannot provide three recordings that are similar. Like you go to LMS, you find three recordings, morning, afternoon, evening, same class. It is not healthy to confuse you. So one session, one recording, perfect, you go. Another one, which is the afternoon now, pure hands-on session, question handling and everything. So people are crying, take us slow. Yeah, I'm going to take you slow, but my speaking is not going to be slow, but my step-by-step is going to be wise, slow, a bit slow, not very slow, but a bit slow. Like if I was going at 100 kilometers per hour, I'll go down to 70 or 80 kilometers per hour so that we can be able to catch up. I understand most of us are beginners. Perfect. I was a beginner once upon a time, but it always comes up with enthusiasm. So if you have that enthusiasm, I believe it is going to be a good thing for you. Anyway, class, let us now get in session. Just like what people are saying in court. The court is now in session. I'll be allowing somebody asks, yeah, I'll be allowing questions. I'm in the class. After the first project, I'll allow question, then I'm jumping. Even before the first project is done, I'll ask questions to you guys. You're going to give me feedback, but please do not ask a question from where I started. Like I'm just starting, then you wait for me at the end there, then you ask me, repeat what you did first. I'm not going to do that. You know that. So it is not. I'm not going to do that. Let me enable Q&A. So Q&A is enabled. Please, I'll be checking from time to time to make sure that I answer a question. If you have any question, please just ask it on the Q&A so that I can be able to deal with it there and there before I go to the next thing. Not when I'm finished, then you're starting. Where did you start? I'm not going to do that. So, anyways, you guys are amazing. Let us begin this thing. Even for me, I've not eaten ugali or eaten even lunch. I just drank tea because I know At the end of the day, I normally am very tired, but I'm used to that. Never eat ugali if you have a lecture. Never do that. I learned it the hard way when I was in campus. Just in Kenya, we say nama. For those who don't understand nama, you just, I don't know, you just go down and then lunch passes on top of you or what? I don't know. Anyway, resources were shared. If you are just new to JavaScript, I'm wondering why you are in specialization, but not to worry. This is a quick reference just to make sure that you have everything in place. We have the one for Express. I guess we have another one for MongoDB, if I'm not wrong. Let me check. Yeah, we have another one for MongoDB, just to make sure that you are well aligned in terms of commands, CRUD operations, and everything. Let us check if you have another one for REST. REST API is not there. Just check REST. Questions have been start coming. You did not show us how to set up. Oh, I'm not supposed to do that. So, Isaac, when I give instructions, I intend for you people to do more research on yourself. Very soon you're going to call me Mr. Research because for me, I want you guys to do a lot by yourself. Like I point you, go north. Please go north. Please go north because I gave you the downloads. It's up to you to figure it out because if I start showing you everything, for example, MongoDB installation, I'm using Linux. I'm not using Windows, so I don't know how the setup in Windows looks like. But at the end of the day, I know we are going to have the same item at the end of the day. So MongoDB, no, Postman is not part of our pipeline to show you how exactly it's done. My work is to make sure that you followed how I was clicking. I clicked create, but I'm going to repeat that. But to set up Postman from scratch, I'm very sorry. It is not quite possible. Or to input commands. If you're in the morning class, I believe, okay, but I'll repeat. It's the same thing. You're going to see how. Not to worry. Anyway, let us proceed. Thanks for that, though, so that I can be able to touch on it. Anyway, let's open a folder. Let's go to MERN. Talking about content. This is week 1. Let us do it here. Okay, so I'm going to create 2 projects. We are going to do. I'm going to start with the Task Manager API, then Book Collection API. When I talk about an API, remember, I'm not going to cover the basics like the content. Okay, this is now how you start. No, I'm just going to show you how the morning class, we can apply it in the afternoon class. Like that knowledge, you went in class and learned how to drive. Now we're on the road right now. I'm your driver, your instructor in your driving class. Now, take the steering, make sure that you press the clutch before you press the gas. Make sure you are in neutral. All of these basics you already know. Just buckle up, make sure that you are not causing any accident, including sleeping, yawning, being distracted in class. All of these are accidents because they are going to deter you from the class content. Now, so I don't know how you are going to create your folder, but this is how I create mine. So, task manager. Then I change directory. CD means change directory across everywhere. So CD task manager. Wow, man, I'm very tired. I'm feeling it down in my stomach, but I have a job to do. So I'm going to do it to the best of my ability. Good thing that I have the best class here. Now, just to make sure that this is disabled, yeah, disabled. I don't like using that auto completions. Now, we start with the first things first. If you remember it well, you create a folder, you enter into that folder, Now you create an environment, you configure environment. So a node environment, this is how you do it. Let me pause for a second. For those who are following me, because the problem is not that I'm going quick. The problem is that you're not able to catch up with me. Is that correct? The problem is that you're not able to catch up with me. Because one time you are here typing, another time I'm here, just gone, far much gone. So that's how you initialize an environment, explained how you're supposed to verify that. So when you go back to your folder, you're going to find a file called package.json. So package.json, when you open it, a couple of things are going to appear, including just a JSON format, the name of your project, the version, of course, by default is 1.000. If you ask me what kind of versioning they are using, it's called semantic versioning. Same way, yeah, semantic versioning. It's whereby the one is the major changes, minor changes. These are the zero. The first zero is called patches. The second zero is called minor changes. This one is for major changes. Yeah, for those who didn't know, just for knowledge, go and shine to other people. I had a question. Are we supposed to have Ubuntu Linux or kindly help me understand? Okay, you can use Windows, but for future recommendation, what I can recommend any day, you can use Linux. Why? It is better if you want to become a hardcore software engineer, go for Linux. I'm not going to tell you go for Mac. No, there's a reason why I'm not using MacBook because I trust my machine, my computation that I can do here. There's a day that I was running a project on my machine. The same project was running on Mac, a very good Mac, expensive. But this same machine was not able to even flinch. But that one, it just hung. It just like it gave up. It was a Flutter project. So I'm wondering, so is this the MacBook that people have been talking, same as iPhone? But I'm not here to demoralize anybody with their own device, but I'll always use Linux, even Android. Android uses a kernel system for Linux. So Android uses Linux. That's why you are finding we have Samsung, we have Itel, we have Infinix, we have Xiaomi, we have all of this kind of Android, different distributions, same as Linux. Linux, we have several distros. Ubuntu, we have Arch Linux, we have Red Hat, we have Kali Linux, we have a lot of distributions. So we have Linux Mint, so all of them are coming from Linux. So distribution, that's why they are very powerful. I trust it. Even the 90% of systems in the world are running on Linux, even your internet right now. Windows is just a marketing, but anyway. I'll share the repo at the end of the class. Don't worry, I got this while initializing about it. What is that? Cannot be loaded by running the script. People are getting so funny, very funny errors, but let me see if I can help you. Deborah or Deborah, you see people have their different pronunciation of names. You're not supposed to install npm. Install node. Node comes with npm. I'm just curious what machine you use. Must be a monster. How did you create? Okay. Done with that question. This is not a continuation, Yusuf. This is another session. It is based on the morning session, but this session is purely hands-on. The morning session was all about deep dive on content, understanding everything express and rest. This one is now project-based. Trying to help. Latest Windows. You mean Node.js, the one we did pre? I don't understand some. Anyways, You see, there's something about Windows. When you just buy a machine, then it does Windows, you have to do a lot of configuration. And that's why, for me, any day I can prefer just have Linux. I'm not going to do a class for that, just a recommendation. I'm just trying to keep you curious, but it's not a must. It's an option to have Linux. It's an option to have Linux. Yeah, this session is being recorded. You can download it anytime after that. So, Deborah, you can just go to PowerShell. You can type like what I'm trying to say, like run PowerShell as administrator. Then type, let me type, give you answers. Let me share this thing. Create a link. I'm sharing a ChatGPT solution here. I'm sharing a ChatGPT solution here. Help yourself. As for these things are easy for you. I don't understand why you're struggling. We just try using Ubuntu. What about dual booting? Yeah, you can dual boot, but make sure you have backed up your data. For me, I'm using pure Windows, pure Linux, pure. Oh, this is a machine, an 11th generation machine. People are starting to deviate from the question. First of all, let me put that pending. I'm going to go back there. Okay. I'm going to go back to those questions. People are taking advantage for me. So, for somebody who is asking, how did the package.json come about? So let me just delete everything. Please, my commands, I'm not going to show you. I'm just, some commands that I'm typing, please just view and go, because I cannot start telling you how it is applicable. No, I'm not going to do that. Just like this command is meant to delete everything in the current directory, everything. Don't ask me how it came about. So for that person asking how I'm able to start that package of JSON, this is where you bring in the Node.js environment to run in your project. So you configure the environment, you prime it. Yeah, you see, you prime it. Just like when you want to eat, you have to wash your hands. You're preparing. So npm init flag y. Flag, that hyphen is called flag in programming. You hit enter. Then package JSON is going to appear. Something like this. Already explained what it happens, everything. Now, let us go on. So step one is initialize the project. Step two is install dependencies. We are going to install dependencies, two major dependencies. One of them is called Express.js, another one is called Mongoose. So Mongoose is supposedly supposed to be the one enabling you to use MongoDB inside Express.js. So remember, we have two things. We have MongoDB driver, and then we have Mongoose. So all of them are good, but I prefer Mongoose because it's much more advanced. You see? So you say npm. In the morning, I gave you two options. You can use two options. You can either use npm or performant npm. So what's the difference? Performant and npm is the first one, super friendly. It is interesting. Just like I can come here and say npm install Express. I want you to see something. Are you observing something? For those who are there in the morning, I told you that once you use pnpm to install, you don't need to download it again. So early in the morning, it said downloaded 66, remember? But this is a new project. So instead of downloading, it is reusing. Are you understanding why these things are interesting? Like, instead of downloading, I can switch off my Wi-Fi and it is able to install and reuse the one that is already there. So that is PNPM. PNPM refers to performant NPM. Like NPM itself, it is Node Package Manager. You see? Node Package Manager. For Python, we have pip. You see? For Rust, we have Cargo. Every programming language, they have their package managers that they use to install dependencies to that language or framework. So for JavaScript environment or Node environment or Node frameworks, we have NPM. But NPM is not that good. It is good, but it's super good, but not yet there. But we have something else called performant NPM. So PNPM is super fast. It is super amazing. It is not going to clog your machine, because if you want to know that you're a developer, your storage is going to be like depleted. In a year, you're going to find out that you have used 100 gigabytes of storage. Why? Because of something called node modules. You see this guy, this folder here called node modules. That thing, I can show you the storage. I can come here and show you the storage. How much is it has just taken. So I can come into properties. So for just one dependency, it has taken 3 MBs. For just one dependency, it has taken 3 MBs. It has just taken 3 MBs. If I scan my entire machine right now as we speak, I've just used more than 25 GB only for node modules. That is if I'm using NPM. But if I'm using PNPM, that is where the game changes, because I'm going to reuse something that I already installed like 2 months ago. So instead of filling up the space, it's going to say, okay, why should I install it yet I have it? Yeah, it is going just bring it here. Let us borrow it. Unless the version has changed for that dependency. Are you getting what I'm trying to say here? Unless the version has changed, it is going to reuse the existing one. For me, when I start talking about tech, sometimes I digress to make sure that the point gets home. So just to go back. So that is NPM. But I've not said that is PNPM. I've not said that NPM is bad. No. NPM is good. Keep using NPM. But for NPM, is going to download it over and over again. Going to keep on downloading it over and over again. Hence, it's going to fill up your space. You're going to have Express in 10 projects. They are the same, but each, like you have 10 same Express.js. Imagine 3 MBs times 10 projects. That is 30 MBs just taken by Express.js. But using PNPM, I'm going to have 3 MBs regardless of even if it is 1,000 projects, as long as the version for Express.js remains the same. So hence, I'm going to limit the number of space that I use. Simple. So we can use PNPM for installation, even for running if I want to. It is super fast, by the way. Go and search. It is performant. PNPM, it is performant. Like it is there for performance. You see, fast, disk space, efficient. That's why they use PNPM. It is amazing. So go and do research about it. Not going to delve deeper into it. Now, because we have done that, so let me just use it the correct way. So instead of saying install, what we normally say, let me uninstall. Instead of saying install, we normally say pnpm add express. Mongoose is never there, was not there. Let us see if it is there. So Mongoose, just like that. Then you hit enter. Oh, amazing. It is only downloading Mongoose, which is 17 MB, 17 packages that are coming with it. But as far as we know, resolved is supposed to be 83, same case as downloaded, but we are just reusing Express. If I go to the next project, which I'm going to do later, you're going to find out that this one is 0. So we keep saying add. If you want to remove, say pnpm remove. So if you go back here, you're going to find out here. This is where you verify in your package.json, your environment configuration file. You make sure that they are there. Sometimes, just to make sure that you understand programming really well, I want you guys to become pros. Sometimes, let me remove them. Sometimes I don't want them to be in the, what we call, I don't want them to be in the dependency. You say you don't want them to be here. You want them to be in a developer dependency. Have you opened a project and found out that we have dependency and developer dependency? If you have not, in future you're going to find out. Then you're going to wonder what's the difference. So there's a difference there. Man, I'm just hearing a jet fighter passing through my house right now. What's going on, man? PM. I live near barracks, by the way. Like not just near, but it is very rare for me to hear that. So Express, then Mungus. I literally had a jet fighter passing here. Then you put dev. So when you say dev, it is normally save dev, yeah. Save dev, not dev. Save dev. So when you say save, it is going to save it in a developer dependency. So you can come and check, you see, dev dependencies. So you can see, simplifies or specify dependencies that are required for development and testing of projects. These dependencies are not needed for production. Like you want these dependencies to be used in local machine, but you don't want them to go to production. That's the major difference. So developer dependencies are meant for testing locally. There are these dependencies that work better in developer environments, and you don't want them to be exposed out there. You see, you don't want for them to be exposed out there because maybe they are not going to work well, or they are not compatible to production environment. That's why you say developer dependencies. So it is going to work regardless, but because we have done it before, it's not a must for us to, let's just remove them from there. And then I'm going to add this promptly. I'm going to add them promptly again. So I'm going to say and, double and, then put there. So this command basically is going to remove, then add. So removed, and then adding again. So you see, Mongoose was already downloaded. So it doesn't, even if it is removed, it's already stored. So there's no downloading again. How amazing is PNPL? There you go. So as you can see the difference, dependencies are required with a simple hash of packages, name to version range. This version range is string blah, 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 blah. Dependencies can also be identified by table or git URL. For me, I've done this before. Like instead of reusing downloading, I can just go to GitHub and note it here. I've built packages myself. For those who are in the morning, they saw that. I built packages for myself. I just showed you one, but I've done like close to 40 for Rust. For Node, I've done like 5, I think. And others have been able to reuse. I've not published them already. So we are just in step 2, by the way. Now, step 3. Now, step 3 is now creating a file. You see, line 4 of package.json, we have an entry file. This is a main file whereby is going to execute this file alone. So if you don't want it to be index.js, you can just come here and say server.js because it's going to say, okay, this is a server. Then the same, I'm going to use that file to create that file here. So we have server.js, make sure you change it here. Most people, they don't, and the project is not going to work most of the time. So make sure you change. So in here, this is where we want to do the server now. We understood that in the morning, this is how we did it. I'm going to be pausing to give you time to type the require, but regardless, I'm going to provide the GitHub repo. So this is how you import an Express file. But because we have 2 packages, it's not a must every time you import all of them, but make sure they are reused. So we have Express, we have imported it. We have Mongoose, we are going to import it. So we are going to say post Mongoose equals to require. Then you come and say here Mongoose. Simple, just like that. And you make sure that you have checked it over and over again to make sure that you don't have any typo. That's something that you have to do all the time. Now, if that is done, we want just to fire up to make sure that we have a connection. Remember, we did MongoDB last week. On the catch-up class, I told you how MongoDB works in JavaScript. Today, I'm going to show you how MongoDB works in Express.js because from now henceforth, you're going to be doing that. Next week, I'm going to do React, focusing just on the UI. Then week 4, I'll take now React, the UI, the front end, and combine it with the backend and database to have a fully packaged project. From there, if I were you, I can just do like 20 projects in a week. Go to ChatGPT, find the project ideas, do. You're going to find similarities in a lot of projects, in wide ranges of projects. These similarities, these are the things that give you muscle memory. You tend to understand that, okay, this is how they are happening, you see? Just like we normally import dependencies when you do projects. So it gets better when you go by there. That's why you're going to find it easier to understand if you follow closely, just follow suit with what we're doing in class. You're going to find, okay, but my instructor talked about this. Okay, so this is how it is. Oh, yeah, interesting. It becomes muscle. That's when you know that you're learning. Learning is not something that you do for one day. That you're in the morning, you're expecting me to say 1 + 1 is equals to 2, then you have learned. No, that is not the case. The case is a process. Learning is a process. And when you keep repeating it via assignments, via research, via small projects, you're going to get used to that. If you get used to that, it is easier for you. Even if you're in a piano class, I'm not going to give you a progression today telling you that this is do, re, so, fa, mi, la, ti, do. Then I'm telling you now you're good in piano. No, you need practice. You need practice over and over again for you to become a master at that part. You see? You're not going to become a master. You're not going to understand it over. For me, I've gone to many classes, but when I just enter and come out of the class, I'm totally blacked out. Like, what was that? Man, this thing is hard. But my curiosity tells me, please go and do more research because now I have the basics. I have the reference point from my instructor. What I can do else is now go and sit at myself and make sure that I find more because the instructor never gave me everything. Yeah, if you are given everything now, that's not spoon feeding. That is now ruining you. That is now ruining you. This is for beginners. Please understand that. So we come and say const because we have to create a server now. For you to create an Express server, this is how you do it. You come and say Express dot, not dot, you just say Express. So this is how you fire up an Express server line 4. As you can see, we are already using it. So after that, we need to create a middleware that is going to allow JSONs to be created all of our project because our database uses JSON, right? Our API uses JSON. So we need to have a security guard to make sure that if you see people with blue shirt, please allow them to pass. So the blue shirt in this case is JSON. So we have to tell the security guard. So we are here, dot use. You're just telling the security guard, if you see people with blue shirt, so the blue shirt is now JSON. If you see people with the blue shirt, please just allow them to pass. Don't ask them so many questions. Just frisk them manually, like just in a hurry, then allow them to pass. This is the purpose of that. This is now where I want you guys to make sure that you pay attention. I want you to pay attention. I have 2 ways to go about it. So I'm going to go with the safest way. So the safest way is I'm going to fire up MongoDB. I have Mongoose, right? So first of all, I'm going to say URI, just like that, or I can just say Mongo URI. So not Mongo URI or URL. You normally say URI, not URL. And then we come and say, now, what is the connection for MongoDB? If you don't know the connection for MongoDB, you can just find it online. So it is normally, let me bring it up. when you go here, let me zoom in. You see, when I say connect or come here and say edit connection, you're seeing MongoDB localhost port 27017. That is the exact port number that you're going to use or the exact format. And then we put slash, then the database name. That is what we want to do. So let me put that aside. I'm going to say MongoDB localhost. And then I'm going to say 27017. And then I'm going to say slash task DB. Remember, we don't have task DB here. We don't have task DB here. So it is going to create it automatically. So after that, we are good. Now, let us now fire up Mongoose. So we come and say Mongoose dot connect. So after saying connect, what you are bringing now is now Mongo URI. That's the thing that you're bringing. You're connecting to that connection string. That's what you're connecting to. Then you put a comma. Then you put curly braces and hit enter. So now you want to set some rules. You want to set some rules for this thing. Then you put a promise. Remember I talked about promise? Yeah. So when you talk about then catch, async, operation, I'm going to use all of those here. So let's talk about, so have in mind, I'll be explaining a lot for this kind of project, this task manager. But for the next one, I think the message will be home so that instead of me repeating the explanation, you now relate or say, okay, yeah, so he did this for this one now, the same thing here. Okay, let us now do it. Let us now do it. Like it is very simple. That's why I'm taking time to explain a few issues here so that for the next project, it will be just a walkover. Now, so we come and say use new URL parser is normally used. And as you can see, I'm using something special. I'm using camel casing. You see camel casing. You put some capitalization in between. That's how JavaScript works, by the way. It's very unique for JavaScript alone, even TypeScript. So you come and say use new URL parser. You can pass any URL. You're just giving rules. And then we want unified field or unified topology. You can be able to use. So use. So we have new URL parser. So unified topology. Topology. It's very hard to type here. I think I'm very hungry. Now, after doing that, let us now make sure that a promise is there. So what is a promise for those who don't know? Just like when you're saying, like as soon as you have done this, then do this. And if this is not happening, please give us a response. So there's something called promises in JavaScript. So whereby I can come here and say, after connecting, now give us a response. Is it connected? If it is not connected, give us the otherwise. So as you can see here, this is called a promise in JavaScript. So if this is connected, then, and only then, you're going to put a console log here, just a console log to make sure that we communicate. We say, okay, yeah, we are good, we are connected. Yeah, we are connected. So that's the thing. I'm just trying to translate this. Connected to MongoDB. So if this connection goes successfully, if this connection, which is this connection MongoDB, this one is being called by this connection method. If it's successful, then you're going to get this. It's like a condition of what is a promise. You're giving a promise. So if you're connected, this alert us that you're connected. If you're not connected, now, you're supposed to throw a catch. So this is what part of something called error handling. So you come and say catch. It is part of error handling for promises. Then you come and say ER. So ERR, this is an error. Then you throw an error. So console error, not console log. When you say console log, you have to explain a lot. So console error. So that error, you're going to throw it and say just something like MongoDB connection, just professionally error. And then you're going to say, what kind of error? Please pass it now. Have we understood up to that point? So we connect. After connecting, we say a promise. You see, JavaScript promises are just directly translated. You see, after I've just eaten my lunch, I promise you, I'm going to tell you that I'm full. If I'm not full after eating, I'm going to tell you I'm not full. So after I've eaten lunch, eating lunch is now connecting. But if I'm full, as soon as that I've eaten lunch and I'm full, I'm going to tell you that I'm full. That is now line 12. If I've eaten lunch and that lunch is not sweet or anything, or any kind of error that I get, it is very salty, I'm not full, any kind of complaint that I can give, those are errors. I'm going to tell you line 13. When you tend to understand these things, how they work, and line 10 and 11, these are just rules. Rules of the table when you're eating lunch, please make sure you maintain table manners. Make sure you do this and this. Make sure you have washed your hands. Make sure you finish chewing before talking. These are just table rules. Now, I believe you are getting the point. I'm used to these analogies just to make sure that we understand the point. Let me fire up a listener. Like, okay, it's now time for us to be able to see. Before I do that, I have to make sure that I have the port. So the port that you're going to run is called port 3000. So that I can come here and just say port. You see? I just say port. And then we're going to have just a port. I'm using arrow functions a lot. Arrow functions are just parentheses, open and closing parentheses, and then equal sign with the greater than, just like an arrow. So I'm going to say console log. I'm spending so much time explaining the nitty-gritties such that next time when I'm going to the next project, it will be a walkover. Now, here I'm going to say server is running at HTTP localhost. You can say that, or you can just mention a port. But for now, because we have a port, so let me use backticks. We use backticks for main reason of template literals. I already mentioned that in the morning class. Template literals. We come and say port, just like that. So it's going to piggyback the port, and then everything is going to be okay. Now, before I go and do the next part, let me clear these questions before I enable others. Yeah, the session is being recorded. Yep. Dual booting, distribution. Yeah, there's a group actually, very vibrant. People have been making a lot of noise in there. Okay. A few questions, then I close the chat. A few questions on the Q&A, I close the chat, then I go to the next part. Oh, you have to install PNPM. So for PNPM, this is how you install it. You have to install it globally via NPM. So you come and set NPM install global. So that flag global tells you that you're installing it for the entire machine. So NPM, you install it via NPM install flag G, which is global, and then PNPM is going to install it. In line 11, I'm using URI, not URL. Go and find out more about it. Even you can come and see these people are using the same thing, if I'm not wrong. We normally say URI. I've never asked why, but we can just search why URI in MongoDB. Why URI? What's the purpose of port? We are running a local, so yeah. In MongoDB, a URI, uniform resource identifier. I told you I don't know everything. Yeah, just do things. We have uniform resource locator, which is URL. Then we have URI, uniform resource identifier. So you can read between the lines. Or your package JSON is just like that. It should not be like that unless you have cooked it. You're not supposed to type it locally. In line 7 is localhost. Thank you for that. You see, I'm in a hurry. It was going to bring a very big error here. Thank you for having that eagle's eye. Could you please add comments to your code? Yeah, I'm going to do that. For example, this one are just imports. Okay, for me, I'm not used to comments. Why? The reason why I'm not used to comment is because I trust the code that I'm writing. So there's no need for me to explain it myself. So I'm used to writing these codes such that I know what's the next step, such that when I go back later, I know this line does this, like I've understood the logic of everything. But for the purpose of beginners, no problem. Let me stop it at that. Then I'm going to answer everything. Express and middleware. Then this one is constants. MongoDB connection. Fire up the server. Yep. Let us answer the question as we take them. I've already answered that. Thank you, Beryl. Could you please add comments here? What are the extensions? Okay. As you can see, I don't have any extensions here, only live server. These extensions are just a hype, by the way. They're just a hype, but I have a few. Just to mention, I have Android emulator, Android iOS emulator, debugger for Java. You're wondering, are you coding in Java? Yeah, I code in Kotlin actually, that uses JVM. Extension Jetpack, blah, 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 Gradle for Java, IntelliCode, that one comes automatically. You see Kotlin, this is just a theme that you're seeing here currently. JVM, live server, the one that you're seeing, Maven for Java, package managers for Java. I think I installed SDK, man, comes with that. Yeah, I'm just answering questions. The person who is telling me I should watch my clock. Yeah, I'm just answering questions. Localhost, which port should you use? So the server you use 3000, but for MongoDB automatically and by default it is 2701. In terminal, is the terminal Node.js? No, it's Ubuntu. This is Linux. PNPM needs specific version for Node.js to run. I don't think so. Just install Node. For Mongo, the Mongo URL you wrote, thank you for that. Jai. 15 packages are looking for funding. Don't focus on that. Just ignore. Command for dependency is, I don't understand that. I keep getting 15 packages for, just skip that. Sorry, I meant 112. Sorry, I checked that. Okay, let us proceed. Now, we have already done the server. So right now we can fire it up and make sure that it is working actually. It's going to work. Our concern is to make sure that MongoDB works. This file, currently what you're seeing, to make sure that MongoDB works before I go to the next step. But before I go to the next step, just to make sure that people understand, there's a package called NodeMon. There's a package called NodeMon that you're supposed to install within your code. NodeMon enables your server to be persistent. Whenever you change your code, it is going to refresh and restart over and over again, unless you kill it. So npm add nodemon. So when you install this one, it's going to come and you're going to check, there you are. So it is going to enable me, instead of saying using node all over again, when you use node, every time it's going to fail, like it's not going to be persistent. So to avoid that, I wanted to show a bit of some configuration. Now navigate to your package.json, click on scripts, enter into scripts, enter in a new line, possibly line 6. Then instead of saying node server.js every time, you just come and say, give yourself a command. This is how you put it, by the way. Then I want every time I say nodemon server.js. Every time I say nodemon server.js, oh no, every time I say npm start is going to run this. That's how we do it. I wanted to show the difference between, I did that in the morning, but let me just repeat. I just put here dev. So we are saying npm start, but you cannot say npm dev. You say npm run dev. So here I can come and say node server.js. So what's the difference? The difference is that when I run node server.js, which is npm run dev, it is not going to be persistent. That's what we are going to run. It is the default. But when you add nodemon, nodemon allows for persistency. As you can see here, when I hover here in these codes, you can see node run by npm start. But for this one, it's normally by default npm run dev. This one is npm test. That's simple. So nodemon allows for persistency. So when I come here, I can just come and say npm run dev. So this one is the default one. And as you can see, connected to MongoDB, which is fine. But the problem is it is not persistent. So to ensure that persistency, as you can see, node server.js, which is exactly what you're seeing line 7 because of npm run dev. So instead of that, I just come and say npm start. So this one is now going to make sure persistency. So to restart, it's going to keep restarting as soon as you refresh and everything. And our success is that, forget about all of this, by the way, these warnings. Just focus on this. Server is running on port 3000, but connected to MongoDB, which means everything is okay, everything is working. From line, as you can see, line 17, can come here and add yo, so that you believe what I'm telling you. See, it is refreshing automatically. So yo, connected to MongoDB. So it is that simple. When I go back, it is going to restart all over again. That cannot happen in just running node. So that is a success for us. Let's go for the next file. So we want to create a file for MongoDB. A file, this is the thing that you're supposed to learn now. This is how you have a model. When you're working with big projects, you normally see people saying, this is my model and everything. So let me create it as task.js. So I'm going to create a MongoDB, a folder that is going to carry MongoDB model. Like this is where I define the dynamics for MongoDB. I want to say that I want to collect title, description, info, and so on. So this is how I do it. So first of all, you come and import Mongoose. And then you come and say require. Just follow closely because from now henceforth, this is what you're going to be doing over and over again. Mongoose. You see? And then from there, I'm going to say now, let me now create something called a schema. So how do you create a schema? You're going to find here MongoDB. So we have the CRUD operation, blah, 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 blah. I don't know if you have a schema. This is just pure MongoDB, by the way. But when you go to the MongoDB JS, I don't know if you have something like that. Nope. So for you to create a schema, is normally you just name your schema task, schema, and I think you are able to follow closely how I name my variables and my constants as far as JavaScript is concerned. Mostly I use capitalization, but most of the time I use um, camel casing. For special cases like port, this is how we do it most of the time because it is one word. But if it is two words like this, we just use camel casing most of the time. Mongo URI, those are two words. So you use camel casing. I guess you're getting the gist of it now. For you to create a schema, you come and say new mongoose.schema. So schema is just like a table, by the way. You're just saying this is how my table is going to look like, by the way. So how does my table is going to look? It's going to have like 3 documents. One document is going to be the title. So the title, I want the title to have, you remember what you did in Java, in SQL, MySQL, just the same thing, by the way. So you come and say the type of the data type is going to be string, and it's going to be required, like required is going to be required, so true. Like it's going to, you cannot leave it like a blank. You have to fill it. Number 2, description. Remember, it's a task manager. So we have the title of the task, this description of the task, and also we have something like, is it completed or not? So string by default, and then completed. So a task that you are creating, is it completed or not completed? When you are creating a new task, that task is not completed by default. So the default one is going to be false, like we are using Boolean. Completed. So this one is of type Boolean, which is false or true. And then the default, when you create a new task, by default, it is not completed. So it is false. You see, when you translate this into the normal analogy, it gets better. Now, that's done. That schema is done. That's how you create a schema, by the way. You create a schema making sure that the data type is already there. Is it required or not? Is it default or not? All of these things. Now, the next step is to make sure that I export. Remember, when you import, the reason why I didn't export for this one, because this one is there. Server.js is now the entry file, as you can see here. But for other files, they have to be exported so that they can be able to be used in the server.js. And later on, I'm going to show you how to add, because we are not done with this file yet. This was just a bare minimum to show how you can be able to come up with the server file. Now, to export this one, very simple. So you come and say module.exports in plural. You say mongoose. You're exporting what? The model. It's normally lowercase, actually. You're exporting the model. What is the name of the model? We call it task. So this way you can give any name, by the way. Then you come and say, so it is coming from the file task. So you come and say, if it is task.js, you come and say tasks. Then you come and import and export this one. So from this file, we are exporting task schema, so that such that when I go to another file, I can come and say const or import task schema from task. That's how you are able to see how it works. So that file is done. Our model is done. Let us now go for the routes. This is just MongoDB. This is now MongoDB file. Just understand that. I don't need to comment or anything. This is just MongoDB file. Let's go for the next file, which is routes. Now, for the routes, I don't need to create a new file. I can do so if I want to, by the way. I can do so. Then I come and import everything. I can come and import everything. Then you're going to see how it works, by the way. You see? So it gets better. It gets better. You are not supposed to be worried or anything, but it gets better. So I can come here and say just routes.js. I can decide to put it in a different file or just come and put it inside here. But for the purpose of debugging and quality code, we always recommend do it in a different file. So these routes, they are very important. But these routes are going to be working together hand in hand with the database. Because if you want to post, where are you posting to? You're posting to the database. If you want to fetch, you are fetching from where? You're fetching from the database. You're deleting from the database. You're updating from the database. So first things first, you import task. Task require. So you're requiring it from task, just like that. So in the other instances, you're going to put it in a folder, a different folder called models. If you're having more and more of models, you just put it in a folder, then you're going to be calling it that way. So we are done with that. So let us start with the first CRUD operation, which is create a new task. This is now where the interesting part comes in, because, ladies and gentlemen, I've talked about promises. In the catch-up class, I talked about asynchronous operation. Oh, I'm now bringing the asynchronous operation in REST API. I'm now bringing the asynchronous operation in REST API. So before I just do this, before I used REST, I used Express. Remember, I imported Express here. I started Express here. So what I'm going to do is just export this, copy that one, and come here, put it there. And then you see this file. I'm going to take it and then put it there. This is going to enable me to use this one. So I'm going to say app.post, just like that. And then I'm going to say, where am I posting to? Where am I posting to? I'm posting to tasks. And this task is going to have the thing that we talked about in the morning, require, respond. I'm going to add one more thing here. Just wait for it. Now, I want this callback, because what I'm writing, this one is now a parameter. This one is now a parameter for posting and a REST API. But now I want this callback, what you are seeing here, what I've just highlighted, I want it to be an asynchronous operation. So how do I do that? I come here, I say async, just like that. I come and say async. So async means until a certain task is done, please wait for me. So until I'm finished washing my dishes, wait for me so that you can be able to go and cook. You cannot cook, yet I've not finished washing my dishes. Are you getting that analogy? Because it is lunchtime, people are cooking and washing their dishes. So I guess you're getting my point. Now, wait for me to do this so that you can be able to do that. But in an extra way, I want to show you also how to do error handling, how to make sure that your code base are tight with errors, like you are able to capture error at every point. Those are two things that I'm introducing. Very keen. One is asynchronous operation. Another one is error handling. So how do you do that? So we start by wrapping your code with error handling capabilities. So you come and say try. So you come and say try catch. That's how you do it, by the way. So you put everything under try. So under try, you come and say const. This is everything that you want to happen. So task, I want to create a task. For me to create a task, I already covered this in the last week, but for you to create a task, somebody asked, how does MongoDB come in with the Express? Like, so this is how they sync. This is now where you write your logic. So you come and say, I want to create a new task. So this new task is going to be created. You see what I imported here? Line 1, I want to use it now. I want it to be created in a schema, in my schema called task. So I want to take exactly what? What am I requiring? So request, remember request, they take incoming communication or incoming data. So I come and say request, I request the body, like I request the body itself. In JSON, we talk about the body, talk about everything under it. So I'm requesting everything from the body so that I can use it to create my task. Are you getting the point? So that is what I'm talking about. So const task, new task request body. So I'm requesting everything. You take everything and then create it and put it inside here. As you can see, when I hover, you can see it's already there. It's already synced. Why? Because I just attached this one. If I remove that one and just do that like that, when I hover here, nothing. You see, nothing, any. But when I go back here, this basically means that the data has been created and put here, what I have just highlighted. So you see, it is going to have title, completed description, and everything. That is what is going to be created. That is what I'm talking about. So after that, I want to tell you, wait for me to save it first. Yeah, wait for me to save. So I'm going to say, wait. So I've just created, but wait for me to save so that we can go to the next step and confirm that it is done. You see, until I'm done cooking, wait for me to finish cooking, then you're going to confirm that I've finished cooking. We are with you in the kitchen. So a sink is the waiter. But await, what is happening there, await is just telling somebody, okay, I've just finished creating this meal, but wait for me to prepare it and package it well, then you can go and confirm. So this is the past we are saying, wait for me to save it. So task, you take this task that you have just created here. You take it and save it. You save it, that method called save, and then you confirm now. So how do you confirm that it is saved? So you remember the status code? Just like that, 201 means created successfully. So we are doing that, then we are sending the task for the user to see. This is the food now you have prepared. Thumbs up if you have understood. Are you getting the point now? It is coming out sweeter and sweeter. You are now becoming a developer. So let me finish this part, then I'm going to ask questions. So this particular example, this particular project that I'm doing task manager, I'm taking so much time for you to be able to understand. So that the next one, I'm going to be rushing. Yeah, I'm going to be rushing, flying. Now you're going to see now in the future how you're going to be typing very fast because of time, by the way. We only have 40 minutes. So we are capturing it within the try block. So how about the error, the catch block? So this is where you respond. Just respond with an error. By the way, this food is very salty. Very salty. Or where is the food that you promised? Like every complaint that you're going to get from the code, this is where you put it. This is where you put it. So that's the error. You're catching the error. Any error that is coming, you're going to note it as error 400. We have 404, 400, 201, 200, 500, a lot of errors. Questions. Let me have questions here. Throw them. Then I'm going to jump on the get. Then if time doesn't allow us, we are going just to do one project. If time doesn't allow us. But just know that this particular project that I'm doing, actually the next project is going to have the same thing, except the model is going to be different. You see, this one is the one that is going to be different, always. But what you're seeing here, same. You're going to be writing this particular code throughout your career. Same case. You're going to be doing this. You're going to be doing this a lot. This a lot. This a lot. In fact, this file, you're going to be repeating this file until you're going to be bored. The thing that is going to change is the one that is here. What's the difference between JSON task and send task? Wonderful. That is a very good question. Because I was to write send. This one, what you're seeing about send. So it's a special case. Send is a special case whereby, let me start with JSON. So JSON is whereby you are returning the JSON back. So you are returning the JSON back. You see? You're returning the JSON back to the user or the client. That is what it means. But how about send? So as far as Express.js is concerned, when you're saying res or respond with the send task or respond to JSON task, they serve similar purpose, which is returning the info, but they have difference in how they handle data and set content. Remember, in how they handle data and send content, basically. So in this one that you're seeing here, it's a general purpose method that can handle various types of data, including strings, buffers, objects, arrays, Boolean, any kind of data that is thrown at it. It does it. So as you can see, buffers and everything. It can be a DOM, anything. But how about JSON? So JSON is specifically designed to send JSON formatted way, like you're sending data in a JSON formatted way. That's what you saw earlier in the morning. You just send it in a JSON formatted way. So it is there to convert data into JSON. So any data that it is given is going to package it in a JSON way, then give the client back. So it is that simple. Another person, can we test our localhost on the browser? No, it is a server language. We are not going to do, from now henceforth, our testing is going to happen in two platforms. Forget, when you're dealing with backend, don't test it on the browser. That's a mess. We are doing that just for testing, but I told you we have two things. We have Postman and we have Swagger API, which is open API, just for testing environments. So if you want to test it on a browser, yeah, do so using Swagger. Site can't be reached. Check your code as well. Should you create task? No, 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 no. Don't do that. It is going to create it automatically. You see, right now it is not there, right? It is not there. But as soon as we run on Postman to make sure that we post something on database, it's going to appear there. Please run the code so I can see. No, for now we are just writing. First of all, you finish writing the code. After finishing writing, then you're going to test, because we already run the routes, but this route cannot just run it alone. We have to export it, import it here, then configure it, and then throw it down to make sure that it works. This is just a milestone that we have achieved in terms of creating tasks using REST API with MongoDB in conjunction. How do you render our front end using HBS? How do you render our front end using HBS from backend? Do you mean HBS, or is there a kind of different name for HBS? Because from my understanding, so okay, from my understanding, HBS is like the handlebars, if I'm not wrong. If you're talking about the handlebars, like you're asking, how do you render? So this is like an engine, like a wrapper engine that you have for like trying to find the best way to explain it. So to render your front end using the handlebars from the back end, you can use just the Express View engine. So we have something called the Express View engine wrapper for this handlebars, provided that the HBS package manager that you have is there. So first install the HBS package, then you can configure the Express itself. After that, there's a lot of things that has to happen. But for me personally, I've not used HBS. I've just gone through the research, but I've not used it. So I cannot say that I recommend it or not. Before using app use or app listen, how do you declare the app on the server and test the route? So for you to declare that, this is how. So before you use, that is how do you declare? This is it, line 6. Yeah. You should have done this training on Windows OS. Most of us, nope, nope. VS Code runs on Windows and any machine. That's what I'm using here. Use Git Bash if you want to mimic the terminals that I have there. Use Git Bash because these commands they work on any OS. So how about the URL encoded? I don't understand that. Do you say you're talking about the MongoDB or what? What Deborah? Anyway, let me get back now to class. We have a lot to cover. If the time doesn't allow us, we are going to just do one project, but it's going to be enough to suffice everything that we should know. So this one is for creating. This one is for creating. Now, let us export this one. We can be able to just export it if you want to, because you're going to export the entire routes. So you can come and say module.exports, and then you're going to say, you can just copy some things. You see, you can just copy some things and throw them, but for this one, it's going to be a bit different. just to mention. So what I want to do is after exporting now all of this, somebody's calling me. Let's see. Just hold on. Let me pause the recording. Okay. For that, I'm back. Now, where was I? Was trying to export these routes to make sure that they are working. So we say export, then, but for me to export this, I need something called a router. So there's an Express router because Express is only here, but for me to expose it really well, for it to enable me to export, I come here. There's a method in Express called the router. So you come and say Express dot router. I think this is how it's being written. No, this router. Yeah, because it has to have that color. Now, so after that, what I'll just do is just export the router. You just export the entire router itself, how it is, you see? But that is going to enable me to change. So I'm not going to use this one anymore. Why? Because instead of every time doing that, I'm just going to just export this. When I export the router at once, it is going to work all across the board. So that's the only thing that I have to do. So remove the Express, then use the Express router if I want to export it. The other way that I was using is just if I want to use it here. So that when I go to the server.js, I'm just going to import using one line. I'm just going to import everything using one line, and then it imports everything. It imports everything. So let us continue. Let us import it here. So I'm just going to come here and say const. And then I'm going to say task routes. Let me even rename this one to task route so that it can be able to work hand in hand. Let us just say route.js. So require. So routes. Yeah, think that should work. But I'm mistaking it for something. Yeah, I think that one should work. Routes. Yeah. So after that, I just need one line. So I just come here. What I'll do here is just say use task routes. Then I'm going to say app use. So you want to use what? You want to use all the tasks here. So you are going to ask me, why are you saying something like that? Why are you saying using this endpoint, this kind of endpoint? Yet when you come here, you have task. No, it's okay. So this one is the common endpoint that I have. This is the common endpoint that I have. Some people use API. You see, people have different ways. So with this, I can be able to fire up the entire application. With that, I'm able to fire up the entire application and be able to actually use it because for me, I've already exported everything. So when you come here, everything works. So I just need to go to Postman. So you fire Postman, give it a few seconds. There you are. So for somebody, Isaac, come here, come close. Now, this is what we did in the morning. You see? So I'm going to create a new task, a new blank collection. You're going to find that icon there for adding. Then I'm going to call this one task manager PLP. Then you hit enter. So let me close every other that we had. Save and overwrite. Same case. So this is what we have. Now you can add a request. So let us add a request. So remember we have so many requests, but we are using post. So you can say create And then we can change this one to post. And then I'm going to change this one to tasks. It's the same URL, but tasks, as I remember well. And then you're going to go to body. You're going to find it like in form format, that one, URL encoded. For me, I'm going to go for raw. Then I have to choose, make sure that it is JSON. So you come here and make sure that you have the exact same information. So I want to create that thing to go to Postman. So remember, we just need two things, title and description. So just to make sure that you're all aligned, when I talk about this title and description, this one by default is going to accompany everything. So we just need to put this one. This one is going to come by itself. And to make sure that we don't have that database here, which is called TaskDB. So we go back, then we put title. Now this is how you do it for database. And then you come and say maybe learn express JS. That's a task that you have. Then the description. What exactly am I going to do? So description. I think I'm just going to do one session, this one project, because of time, for easy understandability. So I want to just to understand the basics of Express, JS, and REST full API. So when you're done with that, make sure you hit save. Sometimes it's not a must. So we want to see if we have been wasting our time. So we click send. There you go. Like I told you, you don't need to have the completed part because the completed part is going to come automatically. The ID comes automatically. So the only thing you're creating is that status code 200, data created. Let us check on the database. The DB, we don't have the task DB. When we hit refresh, task DB appears at the bottom. So when you click task DB, you're going to find tasks. Task table, when you click it, there you are. MongoDB Express success. Now, let us do the other fields. Because after doing the other fields, now you're going to rubber stamp everything and say, okay, now you're good. But just for you to know that we have already connected it in line 23 and line 4. So there is just a task for us to make sure that we have populated others. So we proceed and say, get all tasks. Now watch and see. So we come and say router dot get, and then you come and say task. So remember, if it is all, you're fetching all of them, right? Same case, asynchronous operation. Wait for us until you have fetched everything. Then you can proceed. There you go. So arrow function. So we wrap it up with a try catch. So within the try catch, the try block, you come and say, I want to fetch everything. So we fetch everything and put everything here in a variable called tasks. So we come and say, wait for me to fetch everything, please. So we come and say task dot find, just like that. So when you say find, you're finding everything. When you say find one, you fetching just one. So after waiting, now you can resend and say, okay, now we are done with fetching everything. Now send the data back to the user that we have found something there. Just like that. Simple. So let us now catch an error. If there's an error, what should we do? Let us throw a 500, by the way. That this thing was not, like, we are not able. So we can say send error. Let us see if we are still wasting our time. So we come. When I'm going to talk about hooks in week 4, you're going to enjoy that actually. The hooks that we can able to hook our back end to the front end. That's the joy. Now we come and say fetch. So it's a get request task. So you don't need to put anything in the body, you just need to send. Okay, we have an error. Where's the error? Title required. Oh, this is supposed. You see, I was confused. It's supposed to be a get. You see, when you get confused sometimes. So you just save, make sure it is get, then you send. So you're going to fetch everything as per what we have just done. So I'm going to show you when you're working with the hooks, how to take it from here. You're going to see that routes and hooks, they have similarities. How they fetch data between the APIs. So ladies and gentlemen, that is fetching all. Let us create another one so that we can be able to fetch particular one. So I can come here and say, learn MongoDB. Get to go deeper into the basics of MongoDB. Then I come and say, save, send. Created. When I fetch all of them, I should be able to see 2 here. So fetch, there you go, learn MongoDB. When I go to my database, I refresh here, there you are. So I want us to fetch 1, as like using an ID. You see, the IDs are different. This one ends with B, this one ends with 68. I want to fetch like according to the ID. So how do I do that? So I can come here and say get a task by ID, because ID is for uniqueness, right? So you come and say router dot get. You use something called route parameter. I talked about that in the morning. So you come and say tasks, but in the task you use something called route parameter. So it's dynamic, it can be anything. So you come and say async, wait for me, fetch everything. You see? And then give us a callback function. A callback function is just a function that is supposed to execute as, is supposed to, like, when something happens. So you come and say const. It is but a single task, so you're going to say task, 1 task. So we wait. Then you say task dot find by ID. There's that method in MongoDB. You can see we have find one, find by ID. These are methods from MongoDB. These are methods from MongoDB directly via the Mongoose. Mongoose now enabled us to even use MongoDB in JavaScript. So find by ID. You can find one, but we want find by ID. That's the filtering. So find by ID. So we are requesting. We come and say request. I talked about this in the morning class. You're going to find more about this. So request params ID. So we are requesting from the route parameter to give us via the ID. Then you're going to say, in this error functioning, so we have done that, if the task is not there. So what if we fetch something that is not there? What can we do? So we are going to say, if the task that you're trying to fetch, I could have done this one here, but let me just do it here for you to be able to understand. You can just do it in a linear way. So if the task that you're trying to find is not there, please return a response with the status 404. We're going to say this is 404. You see how coding is sweet? You can even speak, you can even sing as you code. You see? So the problem becomes when you are anxious, you are out of time, and you are writing buggy codes. So after that, anyway, let us just give a response to the user. Okay, we have found what you want. Take it. We have found what you want, take it. What if there's an error? Just a general error. We have these general errors that are coming out of nowhere. We don't understand them. Just throw 500. Go and research about status codes in API development. So let us fetch it particular ID. So we want to fetch the one for MongoDB, right? So we copy that ID, and then we go to Remember, our server is still running. It is persistent, by the way. It has not stopped. That's why node mon is considered. Even if we had errors, you see, there's a part whereby we had errors, but it is still running. So we come here. Where is it? I have so many projects that I've done over a couple of years. So we come here and say fetch one. So it is fetch. So it is task, then you put slash, then you put that ID that you want. After that, save, then send. It is going to fetch that particular ID via that particular ID. Okay, you can find by ID or you can find by name. But the best way is ID because ID are unique. It cannot be repeated at all ever. But for title, it can be repeated anytime. Now, are you able to understand everything? I hope I'm not going faster. Let us do the one for, what do you call, like updating the task. Now, update a task. You can update a task, one task at a go. You come and say router, not router dot put. Put is now for updating. You use the same thing called route parameter, ID. You are saying, I want you to wait for me to do everything before you proceed. So request, respond, just like that. But in this case, I'm going to write something. So try catch, our usual try catch. So I'm going to say, I want to find by ID and update. There's that functionality in database. You can even come and find it here. I don't know if it is able to see it here. Like find by ID and update. Where is it? You see, this one is find. This one is find. We have find one. We have find one and update. You see? But we can find by ID and update as well. Update one, update many. So you filter and update at the same time. So all of these are here. Just go through them. You're going to understand them much better on your own. So find by ID and update. That's what you're going to use here. So you're going to say const. We want to update a particular task, right? Okay, that's okay. But that task, we have to wait for you. So filter first. First things first, filter it. So task dot find. You see, find by ID and replace. So it knows the next step that I'm going to do. It is not Copilot, by the way. Copilot is disabled. This is just coding. You are syncing with coding. So if I'm finding by ID and updating, what exactly do I need? So for me to do that, I require that params responsible to update the parameter ID, the route parameter. I require the body because the first one, line 42 is for filtering. It is for finding by ID, but line 43 is now targeting the body. What are we targeting? We are targeting the body. But while in the body, what exactly do you want to update? So we want a new thing. So I know I told you about the set operator, but in this case, we are not using the set operator. So we come and say, we want something new. And what is it new? We want like to add something. So there's something you can be able to add. If it is something that you want to update, you can update an existing line and say, this title, I don't want to be title. I want it to be task title. You can do that. You can use that set operator. That's okay. But if you want to add another line, so you can come and say, I want the run validators to be there. You can add that. So like you can add another functionality. So for example, for me, I have in mind something called run validators. So I want it to be by default true. So these are validators checks that you are trying to bring here. So I want to add a new line. So you can do that. Then I'm going to say, if the task that you're trying to fetch is not there, Same case here, like this one. Just copy this line. If the task that you're trying to fetch is not there, feel free to throw that error in. And then if everything is okay, just send that damn task there, just like that. You're done. And then let us pass. Same thing, you see, they repeat. This is now a clean code, but they are very clean code. So line 42, filters. Line 43, we are targeting the body, not the header, the body. But in the body, what are we targeting? We are adding a new line called the validators. Because right now here we had completed, but we're adding a new line, which is by default is true. Let us check. So I want us to update which one. So I'm going to take this one this time. So I'm going to say put. So this one is put. Update one. Change to put. And then I'm going to say that. So I'm updating something. So for me to be able to update this, I just come here. We have the body. This is the body that you have. If just by filtering, and then let us run. It is a success. It is a success. You're not going to see it, but I've just updated something. Let me see if it's the case. If it is not the case, forgetting something because yeah, I'm supposed to do something. Yeah. Sorry for that. I guess it is, I'm starving right now. Starving right now. Mhm. So, yeah. So I can just come and do this, comma. I think I know why. Know why it is doing that. Hey, oh, I'm so tired. So I want to update this task. Uh, so this task, the run validator that I've just told you, it's a new line that is being added, but it's an invisible line such that it allows me to check if it is still there, if what I'm filtering is there. If it is there, what I'm supposed to do is now update it. So we saw that our task is not completed, right? So let us complete it because I saw it is not working. So let's come and say completed. And then I come and say true. Save, hit enter. Okay, we have an issue, very big issue. We have a very big issue. Mhm. Okay, yeah, sorry, I was muted. I'm very tired. I'm confusing myself here a lot. Mhm. I'm okay at all points, but I don't know why it is not working. It is not changing from it is not changing from false to true. Mhm. Who has a point here? Like, let me enable the thing. I'm so tired. Okay, okay. Remain on top. Don't understand. Okay, I guess the problem is all about here. Because the run validators is not passed. This thing is not passed. That's why it's not working. This thing is not working. Okay, let me go back to that is the thing. Let me check here. Everything is okay. Oh, in JavaScript, that doesn't matter, by the way. Whether you have a comma, you close the line or not, that doesn't matter. JavaScript doesn't care. JavaScript doesn't care at all. Don't think I'm supposed to install. Let me see. Is it quoted, not quoted? Let me inspect. Let me make sure that I debug this thing very well. So what I'm going to do is, let me launch a console, because it's not that I'm writing perfect codes here. No, 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 no. We make mistakes. And sometimes these mistakes we are not able to see. So request. Let us see the body, what the body looks like. Let us run that again. Undefined. Yeah, you see, we found the issue. It is undefined. It is very much undefined. And I'm here crying for myself. Mhm. We're at the top of the hour here, and I'm not finding an issue here at all, at all, at all, at all. This one, you don't have to close it, Vincent. Take a look at this one. Okay. Somebody's saying, should we import? No, no, no. There's no need for that. Now, this thing, I don't know why. And here, I've already done everything correctly, but I'm missing a thing. Give me clues, give me clues. I'm not seeing anything here. In the schema, there is no field to accept a new. Hmm. Are you sure? At yes, Copilot. Before you go to this AI, you need to understand where your issue is. Somebody saying missing, double, double, where? Here? Where is it? Here it is. Where did I go wrong? Ask Copilot, somebody saying the task is created. The request after comma, the comma after request body, it is supposed to be there. What I know the root cause, if I'm not wrong, let me try this. Let me try this. Routes. Let me try this. Put this one inside. Should be able to change the imports as well. The imports, where are the imports? Up here, yeah. There you go. Where is the other thing? This one should appear before this one. We are checking everything just to make sure that we are okay. Okay, let us do it again. So we kill the server, we start the server again. You see, when I said default, let us be still undefined. You know what? Forget about it. Let us change another thing. Maybe line 54. I like how you're thinking, by the way. Maybe line 54. Let us see line 54. No problem for this one, but I told you, let us see if you are telling the truth. You see, JavaScript doesn't care if you put it or not. It is a loosely typed programming language. It doesn't care, by the way. It doesn't care. Line 51 semicolon. Hmm? Line 51 semicolon. It cannot be here. You know what? Let us change a new thing. We can decide to change a new thing, like update the field for description. So we can come and say, like, let us just, this one remains, but specifically for the field, I can just come here and say something like, I want to change something on the description because I don't want to update fields, something like that. So update fields, they can come and say, we want to update the description. So this description request, you're requesting the body, in the body we have description. Yeah. So close that one. You don't need to close it. It doesn't even have an effect. Then this one you copy and put it here. So we want to change something here. Update fields. It's not supposed to be request. It's supposed to be like that. So that's what I want to change, such that when I go here, I want to make an effect because updating has to happen. So I'm going to change here. Finished it. Well, I enjoyed. So that's what I'm going to update. So currently this is what we have. I should be able to write, save, send. We have an issue. This thing has double standards. Why? Because I don't need to put this one here. So save, send. We have another issue. Oh, it is supposed to only change the description, not the title. Why am I even? Okay, another issue. Copy, place, update one. Is it descriptions or description? Description. Just copy it as it is. Change it here as well. And then run it. You're almost done, people. Remaining with the delete, then I'm going to be done. Let us get to the okay. We have this comma here. Same issue. The comma is not supposed to be there, but I've not put the comma. The comma is removed. Should not be able to work now. Why is it not working? Coding is I don't know what I can be able to say. It can be interesting sometimes. It is going to make you cry. Uh, okay, let us change the coding to make sure that it works. Don't worry. So I'm going to take this boy here, remove this field, come here, remove that. Now I come and say description, throw a comma there. Just finding new ways of writing code. Or the problem is this boy. Let us change here. Let us just make it remain, then you're going to see how. Because it is not responding to the incoming request. Comment it out. Send again, nothing. Now this code base, why is it not working? People have been responding. I'm not been seeing your code. See, it is JSON. Ah, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Wow, 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 wow. And I'm here crying. So my codes are good entirely from, didn't see that coming. I didn't see that coming. Wow. And I'm here crying. Let us save. What the hell now? Well, there's somewhere I've not corrected. Somebody's laughing at me. These are common issues, by the way. These are common issues. Okay, the server crashed. Yeah, because of the imports. This one is supposed to be route. There you go. Server crashed again. It's saying can't find the module task. Seriously? Cannot find the module task. Let us go here. Come on. Let me put it in a model. Mm. So it's not even an issue. Ah, I know where. Now, where are these errors coming from? Honestly speaking, honestly speaking. Guide me, open my eyes. No, I should not restart the server every time I make changes because I have NodeMon. So we have require stack routes. Okay, let me remove it from there if that is the issue. Yeah, problem solved. There you go. Thank you. The problem was JSON. Thank you. There you go, changed. And I was just trying to find out where the problem is. So the problem was all along here. Anyway, thank you for that. I think I'm just hungry. Let us do the last one. Delete. Delete tasks. Let us do the last one, then we can call it a session because it has been a long one. It has been a long one. That is very familiar for me. I'm used to complex tasks. Not that these small tasks are not hard or easy, but sometimes they confuse. So delete a task. Hold on. Now you come and say router, then delete, and then same case. Wait, that one was a hard one. ID. Async. Thank you so much for saying that. I'm not ashamed because I don't know everything. I just look like I know everything. So try. Try. Then I'm going to say I want to delete a particular one. So for me to be able to delete that particular task, of course, the same thing apply. I want to find by ID and delete. That's what I want to target. So find by ID and delete. So find, then you're going to check find by ID and delete. Where is it? Here it is. There you go. So I come and say, this one is very simple. Just params.id, just that. You're filtering, then delete. So if the task that you're trying to find is not available, please, might as well just tell that person it is not there. Give them a status code. So status 44 for not available. Then send that request to the user that you failed. So after that, next thing is just respond the usual way. If there's an error, please inform us. We are going to say 500, the usual one, because that is what I've been getting. General errors, I call them that. So I think that's it. We already exported everything. Let us try and delete this guy from MongoDB. So you find by ID, add request, call it delete one. Set task, delete. You slap that ID there, then you send. Success. So when you go back to a database, when you refresh, it is gone. Successfully, like it is just done. Where has been a hassle? Let me wait. Thank you so much, people. Now let me open forum for newsmakers as I do what? Pacemakers, where are you? Well, it has been a hard one as well. Let me open the forums for questions. Taking only 2 questions for now. Only 2. Taking only 2 questions. So the error was on Postman. So on Postman, you see when you go to body, this is the default. The text, when you go to body, row, then text is the default. So you're supposed to change to JSON. You can be able to see the difference. Taking only 2 questions. If there are no, let me send the repo as we speak. Let me package it and send it. Yeah, coding is not easy. Coding has never been easy, so we need Suleiman. How are you? Suleiman, you have raised your hand. Okay. Another person, there's no question. So let me send it right now as we speak. But thank you so much. Let us meet on Wednesday. I'm going to share a follow-up email compiling the resources, what you need to know of blah, 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 a few things just to make sure that we are well aligned. That is on Monday. I'm going to do so. If I don't do that, kindly somebody remind me. And then it's going to be a good day. So git add everything, but you're not supposed to add everything. So let me remove that. There's a reason why I don't have to add everything. So .git. There's a mistake that I usually make. So main, I'm supposed to create a file called ignore file. So this ignore file is going to be able to ignore that .git ignore. If you're not going to ignore .node modules, it is a very big folder, by the way. Modules. I'm making typos here. I'm very hungry. That must be the case. Package lock .json. Yeah, it is package lock or pnpm lock. pnpm lock. Yeah. To ignore the two things. Package lock YAML, not JSON. I'm the one going to announce the weekend is now on, not you people. Just wait for a minute. So add everything. Git commit the message. So Hanson Express JS class. Now just git remote add origin create a repo. Very tired, by the way. But anyways, feel free to jump off the call unless you have any question. Let me do this, copy. Task manager express. Yes. I don't like creating that. I just like to create and copy. Copy origin, paste that one there, then git push origin. It's origin. Yeah. Origin min. There you go. Done. Bye bye, guys. Welcome to the weekend. Welcome to the weekend. Feel free to jump off the call. The session is over. Bye bye. See you next week on our catch-up class.